I want y'all to go talk to people about this. You take this laminated wallet card I brought y'all today. Truth, beauty, goodness, unity, the foundations for sustainable excellence, the foundations for deep commitment. Talk to people about these four things. We don't talk about these things in the business world. We don't philosophize with each other anymore in productive ways. You can get away with it because the philosopher told us to talk about these four things. You can get away with it. Truth, beauty, goodness, and unity. People say, how am I going to bring this into my workplace? This is so different for everybody. You have to be a leader. You guys are leaders. You're incredible leaders. You're going to deepen that leadership by having these explicit categories as a diagnostic tool. Anything you're thinking about doing, does it respect and nurture truth, beauty, goodness, and unity? How can we enhance truth, beauty, goodness, unity? Have it as a mental checklist. Help people around you to think about these things more explicitly. You've got to exercise the two great keys to leadership greatness. And I want to tell y'all, I learned about these things. I mentioned Norman Lear. I got a letter from Lear saying I was on a panel discussion on religion and public policy in the Wilshire Boulevard Temple in Beverly Hills. And in answer to a question, I struggled to articulate an apparently paradoxical insight that the older I get, the more I feel man's insignificance in God's great scheme of things. And yet somehow that insight makes me feel bigger and more important all the time. I never succeeded in saying what I meant. An elderly man came up to me at the end and introduced himself as Rabbi Fields. He said, Mr. Lear, what you were struggling so mightily to articulate, the ancients said well. I'm going to send you a Hasidic saying that says it all. Lear said, this is so great, I wanted to share it with you. And here's the quote. Every person should wear a garment with two pockets. In one pocket, there should be a note which reads, I am but dust and ashes. In the other pocket, there should be a paper which says, for me, the world was created. I am but dust and ashes. For me, the world was created. I sat and looked at that, and Lear said, isn't that terrific? I thought, I am but dust and ashes. For me, the world was created. Oh. The two paradoxically great keys to leadership success, to leadership greatness, humility and nobility together. I am but dust and ashes, humility. For me, the world was created, nobility. You show me a person with a sense of nobility who has no humility, I'll show you an arrogant person. You show me a person who has humility without nobility, I'll show you an impotent person. A person, well, how can I think I could do anything here? Why should we think that we're going to? You need both together in balance. One of my greatest statements that I've ever come across of leadership excellence, one of the greatest statements ever made is in the Tao Te Ching. Lao Tzu, you know what he says? The ocean is the greatest of all bodies of water because it's lower than all the rest. They empty themselves into it. The ocean is the greatest of all bodies of water, nobility, because it's lower than all the rest. Humility, they empty themselves into it. That's the recipe for leadership greatness. A nobility of purpose, truth, beauty, goodness, unity. A humility of openness to other people in robust dialogue. How do we move forward? How do we have a culture of execution? How do we get things done? How do we maximize our personal commitment and everybody else's commitment? Humility and nobility. Let's teach each other. One story more. Last time I was at Notre Dame, everybody said, did you hear what the Pope did on his last visit to America? I heard this from 3 different people. The Pope was apparently going someplace in the limo. He was in a hurry. He got on the intercom and said, driver, please drive faster. The driver said, yes, sir. Yes, sir. 10 seconds later, driver, faster. Yes, sir. Yes, Your Holiness. The Pope pushes the button again and says, driver, pull over and stop the car. Yes, sir. Yes, Your Eminence. Yes. The Pope jumps out of the back seat as soon as the car is pulled to the side of the road. They're on the interstate or something. The Pope jumps out of the back seat, walks to the driver's door, opens the door and says, driver, please sit in the back. Yes, Your Eminence. Yes, Your Holiness. The driver goes and sits in the back of the car. The Pope jumps into the driver's seat and takes off. They're spewing out gravel. They are laying rubber down the side of the road. They are going so fast. All of a sudden, the blue light in the rearview mirror, the Pope gets pulled. The patrolman comes up to the car, looks in, and says, just a minute. He goes back to his unit, picks up the radio, calls dispatch, and says, I don't know what to do. I've stopped somebody going really fast, but it's somebody really important. What do you mean? Well, you don't know. Give him a ticket. No, you don't understand. It's somebody really important. What is it, the mayor of the? No, much more important than that. Is it the governor? No, much more important than that. Well, who is it, for crying out loud? I have no idea, but his chauffeur is the Pope. The moral of that little story is you get in the driver's seat, you make everybody around you look better. Thanks for asking me to be your philosopher again. You guys are great. Thanks.